Hi, every.
Hello, hello.
So I think we're ready to get started. I guess I can quickly introduce myself. My name is Zeno. I've spoken to just a handful of you guys. I'm going to be kind of leading this AMA and trying to guide us in the correct direction, I guess. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to kind of pass the mic off to Fox. He's going to go over a couple points, and then I think we'll go over to Spicy after that, and she's going to talk about some of the recent milestones and accomplishments we've had in this last week, and then I'll follow up at the end with some questions that we've gathered from the community and some different things, and that's going to kind of be our agenda for today.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Zeno. For those of you who don't know Zeno, he's our new, I guess, head of HR. Is that your title, Zeno? Sorry,
Sure.
but
Yeah. HR,
he's
couple different
he's
hats.
yeah, he has a few hats. He's kind of a jack of all trades, and he was really needed because our team is like really growing, and I think I don't even know how many people we've got on the team now, but it feels like it's at least 15 to 20. We're always on the lookout for highly skilled, highly talented people. And so we expect to see like even more of that growth. So having him in place there is awesome. And he spent a lot of time actually writing up a very nice onboarding document. I think it's like 15 pages or something, but it has all of the like policies and code of conduct and stuff like that. So it's really great to get that all up and running. He'll also be heading up creating a new calendar. um, One thing we've been trying to do is create a more structured flow for things like new feature releases and AMAs with the community, and when we do updates like to gardens and just like stuff like that, where we would like to make a public calendar for everyone in the community to have access to and just kind of see every day what is scheduled for that day. So we'll have events on there, we'll have AMAs, which will from now on essentially be every Monday. And probably every like Monday we'll do probably like a different department. We'll head up each one. So we might have like a dev one on like this Monday, and then next Monday we could have one from the creative department just to answer questions about art and all that type of stuff. And then like probably on the following week having one with the marketing department, for example. So we're just trying to stay more structured and start to implement sprints into our process. That's kind of where Professor Tango comes in here. He's sort of our project manager slash sprint uh, master. I think there's an actual name for that, but I can't remember it right now for some reason. But just trying to have our flow more structured and more steady, so that we don't have anybody essentially working like all of the weekend or 20-hour days, which we have had in the past to hit some of these deadlines. But I'm excited about that. And part of that stuff that we're changing is also changing the flow for the standards we set for QA for the releases. Um, we have created a new environment called Alpha, which is only internal. And it will allow us to basically spin up and test all of our contracts over on testnet and have sort of like a test interface, and having a very structured and very defined process for QA for those things, where we will upload everything there and then hand it off to our QA team, which would include some of our nights as well. And then have them just kind of hit it and record all of the issues they find, all of the bugs that are found, and then we'll have that get fixed. And I'll just kind of iterate on that until it's basically 100%. At the same time, we will also have 100% code coverage of like unit tests and stuff with our smart contracts, and also trying to like implement like audits and things into that process as well. So all in all, what we're trying to do is basically ensure that every single new like launch that we have will just be basically flawless. Up until now, like it's been pretty good. We have had huge successes with all of our launches. There haven't been any huge like major issues or anything like that. But to ensure that that always stays uh, as like the case, we're just trying to basically add extra things there for the QA process and make sure it's 100%. So with that in mind, our tavern, I did kind of want to give an update on that. The tavern, we are at the point now where it's almost ready for alpha. There's still a few more things we're trying to hammer out. That tavern was our uh, I guess pilot for this new program where instead of just trying to like rush it out the door, we're just like really trying to take steps to ensure that all of the I's are dotted and all of the T's are crossed and that it's just 100%. So it also was a lot more involved because it involved us having to create an entirely new API on the back end to support the information that is shown in like the marketplace there. So for example, we have all kinds of filters and all kinds of sorts and things like that because we anticipate there will be probably up in the thousands of heroes on this marketplace at any given time. So in order to efficiently show that, we had to create an entirely new API um, and have that basically index events off of the blockchain and stuff like that. And one of the really awesome things about the API is it also allows other like websites to query that API too. So, for example, Sarah over at the wiki site could hit that and could get like information about heroes, and other like sites out there that could start to spring up will probably use that as well. And then also just here in Discord, we'll add things like into like the bots where you could query like a hero ID and get the information about that hero straight over here in Discord. So really excited about having all that in place, but it is a lot more involved to get that in place too. And it's just like one of those things we have to build up front, and then it will just help with all of the other features that we have in the future. So that's where that's at. It should start alpha testing here within a day or two. And then we'll start that entire process of just iterating on it and making sure that there aren't any issues at all. After all that's done, we will then push that over into the beta site, probably for a day or two, where any um, courageous users, I guess, could head over there and try it, but at your own risk. And it should allow anyone to basically sell and buy heroes and then also rent out their heroes as well. So they could, if I have like a Gen Zero, I could just offer him for other people to use for their summoning for maybe like 20 jewels or something like that, or 30 or 40 or however much you want to charge for that basically. But all of that will be up and running soon. Um, and that is the status there. Spicy, I don't know if you wanted to spend a minute and talk about some of the exciting things and like milestones we've hit this week from the side of marketing.
Hey, yeah. Can everybody hear me okay? Had some weird feedback on my mic earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so really awesome stuff happening in our community. Just to kind of go over some numbers, we're up to 8,000 community members in our Discord, which is pretty amazing. We've got 10,000 followers on Twitter. Our Reddit community is up to 1,000 members. I was gonna mention hitting 100 million TVL, but that's a thing of the past now. We're at 129,000, which is pretty amazing. Um, as far as events and stuff in the community, we are going to be releasing that calendar of events. That way you guys can look at it. I'll work with Zeno on that probably. And I'll also include some kind of like marketing things that I'm working on, some campaigns we might be running with the community, such as like fan art contests, community content contests. I'm actually planning something to release this week. So definitely stay tuned on that. Um, Outside of that, we're just continuing to grow. We are going to be taking more applications for moderators and bards. I will post a application link later today after this AMA. So if you are interested in joining our team, we're just kind of streamlining the process. I will be posting that later today.
Awesome.
Oh,
Also, just calling out that we did hit the overtaking the previous first place on Harmony for the like most TVL. So
Oh, how
as
could
of
I
now,
forget
we are
that?
currently the highest ranked Harmony decks in terms of TBL. So huge thing there. We're number one.
Woohoo!
Nice. Can I just tack on to what everyone said really quick? I just in a summary of what I've been seeing going on this last week is that things are going really well. The growth of our team is proof of the success that we've been having and the just the nature of the work that we're doing. And so I see everything that's going on and all the announcements we've had today as a really good sign. We're getting everything lined up properly so that we can continue to grow and scale. We've got great visions for what's to come in the future, and we're just setting ourselves up now to be successful as we try to implement those things. So look forward to the calendar that's coming out. We're going to have more stable release cycles. We're going to have just a lot of great opportunities for everybody involved, and I'm really excited about that. So looking forward to that alpha release this week. And again, just to reiterate that, we're building out that process. So it may take us just a little bit longer, but in the long run, it's going to be a great thing for us to have this whole process to get, bug fixes and use cases and user acceptance testing kind of streamlined and really functional so that we can make sure we continue to provide good products for everybody. So every aspect from the art, the creative department, the marketing department, to the development work that's being done, it's growing on all fronts, and we're just trying to make sure we take a step back and organize it all. So really good news, in case you haven't already noticed, but we're really looking forward to the future. So fun stuff.
All right, all right. I'm pretty excited. So now we get to move on to the Ask Me Anything part of the AMA. I've gathered a lot of questions from the community. So we're going to start running through these. I'll ask these questions and then I'll kind of pass them off to any of the lovely folks on my team here to answer them. So we have a question from someone named Climb Crypto. Is there any future effort to reduce the supply of jewels, such as when used for summoning? Will you burn it, or a portion of it goes the same for many other activities as well?
I'll take that one. So yeah, it actually already is doing that. On our Gen 0 sale, we have, I think, like 1% was actually burned. And I think that ended up being like, I don't know, like over $100,000 that was burned. And then, or I guess 1% of 3 million would have been, or no, it was 4.5 million. So that would have been 45,000. But what it's worth now is over 100,000. Anyways, so yeah, that is how we did that one, and that's also how we're planning on doing pretty much everything going forward. Is that every in-game transaction will probably burn like 1%, and that's actually huge because these jewels are always circulating around, and the in-game transactions, most of that actually will end up heading into the quest fund, which is used as like rewards for players. And then some of the other ones will essentially like be used like to fund development, to fund stuff like marketing, but all of those eventually do end up into the pool again in the community. So it can cycle around, and each time it is in a transaction, a small amount of that gets burned. And that's also currently happening right now with summoning. If you look at the Explorer, you can actually see that like 30% is into the quest fund, 17 into the dev fund, and then over to marketing. And then there's some that gets burned, some that gets into the bank, so it's already happening.
All right. So our next question comes from Cubanito Lopez. What will be the scarcity of items such as tiers? What steps are being taken to make this game affordable for all? It's getting to the point now where this game is becoming very whale-centric.
I could answer that too. Sorry, I have to also get the door because there's a package. But yeah, scarcity of tiers. There's been a lot of concerns with that because the current price of tiers over on the marketplace is crazy high. And that's essentially because there's no supply right now. There's a lot of demand, but there's no supply. But that will change pretty soon after we launch quests, because every single quest will actually have a chance of awarding 1 or 2 or 3 or even more tiers. And so heroes can start to spend their stamina points on these quests every day, probably like multiple times a day. So you'll have all of your heroes will basically be earning jewels, earning tiers. And then with those tiers, you can use them to summon more heroes, or you can sell them on the marketplace. So that should basically start to even out more, I would say.
All right. And this next question comes from Hero Offerelden. Hi, I was wondering, some of my friends and I have some Gen Zeros and we want to summon together without charging each other fees to do so. Is there a way that we can use our heroes to infuse crystals and make new summons without actually sending a hero to one another, or will that be coming in the future?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. Our plan right now, and I actually have this up and running over on my tests local, is to allow you to specify an address when you put a hero up for sale or for rent, and say only this address can actually rent it or can actually buy it. So if you do that, then you could basically add like one of your friends and say, I have this like really nice shiny hero that I don't want anyone else to use except him. So I could put it up for rent and say only his address can rent it, and I could stick it up for like a jewel or something, and then he would have the ability to like rent that, and everyone else just like wouldn't see it basically. So yeah, it is coming.
So one of the questions, just a discussion we had had previously was, is there a minimum price, a floor price for that renting? So if I wanted to share it with my friend, would he have to pay anything at all, or can I set it to be free?
There is a minimum price. I think I have it set right now at like 0.1 joules. So I mean, we could probably talk about lowering that if we needed to, but I think that's already pretty low too. What is that, like 30 something cents now?
Yeah.
So
No, and the reason I brought that up is because we do have some amazing functionality for. I'm really excited for the tavern in the marketplace and the hiring a hero, but the way that the whole economy is going to work is based off of those fees and those transactions. So we are working on making that happen. We really want everyone to enjoy the game with their friends and do it, the way they want to do it, but also be able to feed into those quest funds and everything else too. So I think that's a reasonable, price. That's pretty cheap, honestly, compared to the summoning. Um,
oh yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's
And
really
I
nice,
think
but
the fee right now is like
yeah,
3.75%. So 3.75 of 0.1 joules comes out to just be like a few cents.
yeah.
So
Well, and I think when it comes down to it, honestly, it's the summoning that it does cost a bit, but it's also giving you something that can be worth something, right? And that's what it really is. And so you have to take that in consideration if you're letting your friend, borrow your hero. They're going to spend some jewel on that process and get something out of it that may be worth quite a bit, actually, depending on their luck. But you are using that hero, you're losing that cooldown or that summon, right? And so just to be fair of what's going on, understanding what the price is going to look like, we want to let you do whatever you want with it, but just kind of be aware that, that's why some of those fees exist, so you can get some compensation for, whatever you think is fair for renting out your hero.
Great, great. Our next question comes from Geospirit. Currently, I feel the hero menu could be a little bit more efficient. As the number of heroes we own increases, the up-down menu is going to be more and more difficult to navigate. I was wondering if there were any updates planned for improving ease of viewing in the hero menu, as in being able to tag certain heroes in different ways or to organize in different ways to view easier. The progress of development on the game has been shockingly amazing. Thank you, team.
yeah, no, that's something that we're always looking at too. In our tests, we end up with 30, 40, up to 100 heroes at times. So we have started to hit against those things too, like, oh, it'd be nice to organize these better. And so that's part of the reason that we built in all of those stuff with the filters and things into there, even on your own heroes. So you could basically use any of the filters to just see your shinies or your mythics or certain job classes or like whatever is there. And it's pretty flexible. Always interested to hear other people's suggestions if you have any for that as well. I will say a couple things there though. We have been trying to work hard on improving the performance because if you get a lot of those heroes on the screen at the same time, sometimes it can slow down. So trying to improve that so that maybe it'll only animate if you like hover over it or something like that. And then also improving the speed of the API because currently it has to pull in sort of a loop from off of the blockchain. And that can sometimes be slow. And so even just like loading your heroes can take a while. But after we get this new API I was speaking about earlier in, it's actually super fast. So that should help as well.
Yeah, the API is really going to help sorting and finding the heroes. And there's no promises for what we're going to implement, but like Fox said, if you have suggestions, please let us know. We've got some things already in the queue that we want to look at, such as being able to sort by summoning cooldown, potentially even having a search field or a favorites ability to select some of your heroes that you want to be in your favorites list. But those are not currently implemented, so just some ideas of what we're looking at. But if you have any, please put them in the suggestions channel, or I believe we have a form that's available now that Zeno can share with you guys.
Okay, our next question comes from, and please excuse me if I mispronounce this, Zen Zhaopao. Will there be a future option to play this game without MetaMask Nlog and no DEX? One challenge I've run into is teaching elderly people how to play this fantastic game.
Yeah, so I've had that asked a bunch of times since the very start of this project, even prior to launch of our phase one, because there's always a lot of people that are just really concerned. Anytime you have a play to earn game, uh, it's like in its nature that a lot of the players are playing to actually earn money, which is amazing. However, there are some that if you want to earn money from it, you also have to invest money into it. It's essentially like anything else here on the blockchain. So it's sort of like the more you put into it, essentially like the more you get out of it. But there are some people that can't put anything into it. And so for them, I would say that's one of the main like reasons that we have really taken a lot of care to create everything over on the test net first and then over on mainnet. So theoretically, and I'm actually already doing this in like all of our testing, anybody could play this game over on testnet for free and basically experience it there without any money. And obviously, like they wouldn't be earning any money either. It's just more of just for education or for fun.
You'll still have to use MetaMask Wallet and some other things there, but yeah, it's a great place to go play around.
Okay, the next question comes from Alex Jones Bellyfat. I was wondering if there's any plans in the future for future generations of heroes to have any kind of degradation as far as stats, maybe cost of summoning or anything like that. Right now, it seems like lower generations of heroes have similar stats and value to like Gen 0 heroes, and I was wondering what the kind of plans for that were.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So there are opportunities for creating really rare and really hard to get heroes that would have amazing stats. And in order to get those, you have to spend a lot of time trying to summon through a lot of different iterations with your like lower tiered heroes. And so that is an aspect, but it's also basically set in balance with all of those upper tier and the like later generation heroes can't summon as many times because every time they get summoned, they lose some entropy there. So I could have this really amazing hero that has really good stats, but he basically would only get like one or even zero summons. So then if I would like to make another hero with those awesome stats again, I have to start at the bottom and kind of build up. And so that sort of ensures that those heroes are hard to get, and they're also worth a lot. And all of the heroes that you need to get them are part of that puzzle. And so that's starting from the Gen Zero, which haven't got any limit. And so every single tree, I guess you could say, will start from one of those heroes at the very start. So as far as stats go, rarity does impact stats a lot. It's hard to see right at the start because everyone's just like level 1, but every time they hit 5 levels, they will get an extra set of stats improvements from their rarity. So if you have somebody who's mythic, then after like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 levels, they'll really start to stand out as like having higher stats. And so that's also at play as well. And a lot of those Gen Zero heroes, every single one is at least blue rarity and higher, so that will increase their stats as they start to level up as well.
The other thing that I would add on to that too is the leveling up kind of brings back the concern around the tier price and the tier scarcity. If you kind of look at the mechanics that we've got in the game for the leveling up and the summoning functionality, we have that ability to kind of increase the amount of tiers for every 5 levels that you're going in there. So I think that's another great way to look at, hey, what of my heroes have the highest rarity, which means they're going to get the best stat upgrades, and be able to use those and infuse them with additional tiers to make them even better. And so starting from that base 0 and working your way up through the generations to find, that generation 8, 9, 10, whatever, that has the best stats, the best class, the best rarity, it's going to be a really fun journey. But also, just in the tiers perspective, it's our intent to make those widely available as you go questing, to be able to make that a fun and engaging experience without costing you $1,000 to get it done. So I think that's another way to look at the way that we are seeing the game and the way that we are expecting it to be played. So
All right. Kind of a general question. Are there any plans you guys have beyond July 2022 that you are able to share with the community currently?
That we are able to share. There's a lot of plans. So we have like years worth of ideas that like we've uh, every other week or so we'll just have a meeting, just be like, here's what is the end game. We'll have like tournaments and like PvP and stuff with uh, like having alliances and stuff like that in game where you're able to kind of team up with other players and do tournaments and do all kinds of stuff with them. So really, there's a lot there. Also, expanding onto other chains will be a huge thing there too. We're actually already in talks with some of them. I was on a call just yesterday with some of the founding members of a chain that we're looking at, and our plan there is really exciting. I think, which is to basically have extra areas, extra lands in our game where it's on this other chain. So you can actually journey like with your heroes onto these other chains and have other quests and earn other items and experience other genes as well over on those other lands. So there's a lot there. Honestly, I think it should be at least 3 or 4 years out that we have stuff on our plate for. So yes, there is a lot.
All right, guys, and we are nearly out of time. I have time for one more question. And this question is from Crypto Quasar. Is there a merch store coming or is there a plan for merchandise in the future?
I
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say we have had several discussions around that. I'll let Spicy talk about whatever she was gonna say too, but we've really, seen a lot of people who have some interest in that and some people who are interested in helping us out with that. And so it's definitely been something we've been talking about. Just definitely in addition to that, it's I guess the point is it hasn't been a priority, but we really see the value in, providing some of that merch to everybody just to kind of build that hype and keep excited about it. But it has been a conversation we've had.
Yeah, I was just about to say I've been asked almost nearly every day about
Mhm.
merch and swag, DFK swag coming. Yeah, it's definitely in the works. I think it's not off the table. We're still just super busy working on the actual project itself, but I'm a bit of a quality snob, so I will say if we do get some merch, it'll be really nice.
Yeah, and we can take this offline as well and discuss it and kind of get back to the community with that. But we do have some people who have been very interested in that and are currently looking at some mock-ups and potentially some I want to say demos. I'm losing the word, but some examples of the
Prototypes? I don't
the
know.
prototypes, really good quality, right? We've got people looking into, not just the cheap t-shirts or whatever we end up going with, but like really good quality stuff. The problem becomes logistics. We're building a blockchain project here, and now we're talking about physical items and shipping and stuff like that too. So it's it's there. I think it's exciting, but we'll have an update on that later. So
It would be fun to have like an airdrop or something with like actual items you could
mhm.
win. But yeah, that is a
Oh, yeah.
whole other thing that we'd have to like, have addresses and stuff like that. Actually, speaking of airdrops, I did want to spend a minute and talk about that after the AMA stuff is all asked, I guess. Sounds like that was the last question anyways, right, Zeno?
Yes, that's it for now.
Okay, so on our roadmap, I believe it was, we have an airdrop scheduled for the 15th. I think it was land 25. And land, we actually had a meeting yesterday, just like really hashing out exactly how that'll all play out. Artists are hard at work on creating all of the things we need for that to expand our map. Pretty soon, we'll actually have sort of a facelift of our map. It'll actually look somewhat different, I guess, where items or not items, areas will be a little bit moved around. And honestly, it'll look a lot awesomer. Awesomer is not a word, but it'll just look awesome. And I've seen some of the mockups for that, and it's amazing. I really can't wait till that's out. But as far as lands go, we still are having that snapshot on the 15th. I think that's this Friday. And it'll actually work pretty similar to the other snapshots we've done, where you can get like multiple entries if you have uh, multiples of the amount that you need. And so that will be 25 lands, and we'll have the snapshot get done, and then we'll probably do a spin the wheel thing probably a week after that, just to see who actually won. And as far as those lands actually arriving, it'll probably at least be a month or two until those are actually like ready to actually drop. So if you are like one of those winners, then you'll be slated for that. And actually, one of the things that we wanted to do there was have another airdrop snapshot of land for next month as well. So that'll be an extra 25 lands on November 15th snapshot there. And that would, I think, replace the one we have there, which is currently equipment, because that's still a little ways out. But that is our plan for that. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that.
All right, guys. Well, that about just wraps up this meeting. I know we didn't get to all the questions in the chat or in the ones we received in our feedback form. There's just so many. You guys are so awesome for always providing feedback and asking questions and helping us to better communicate with you guys and help inspire the creative team as well. I'm gonna gather a list of all the questions that were asked in the Discord chat, but also please feel free to go to the form that we have linked in Discord where you can provide suggestions, feedback, questions, things like that. That's a really great resource to help us get organized for these AMAs. I'm going to be trying to put together a general FAQ in the near future that's going to help to answer a lot of the kind of general, more repeat questions that we get frequently. So hopefully we don't have to dedicate this on-air time to those. Um, you know, these guys were talking about a little bit at the beginning how much the team has grown and the community has really grown too. You guys are so amazing. We love you so much. You guys are really the real heroes in this project. Everybody has been so welcoming and kind to me, especially, and you've just been really amazing. But with that, we're going to go ahead and bring this to a close. And we look forward to chatting with you guys soon. And then if I'm just going to kind of shut up for a second, and if Fox or Spicy or Tango has any kind of closing thoughts, we can hear from them. And otherwise, again, I want to thank all 300 plus of you for being here, listening to us, and really being involved in the most important part of our community and this project.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
thank you.
awesome. Thank you, Zeno.
Super excited. I'd say just look forward to that calendar coming out because we've got a lot of great stuff coming.
Yep. Really excited about the stuff that we're doing this week. We're just like really making a lot of progress and really can't wait to share that with everyone. I think everyone's going to be amazed.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank
All right, everyone. Thanks for coming.
All right.
See
Thank
you.
you so much, everybody. And again, if you want to submit any questions or feedback for the next AMA, please use that form that's located at the top of the Discord channel. And I hope to chat with you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.